Ready? Let's do it. We sound like nerds.
Welcome back to We Sound Like Nerds. It's Sunday, September 2017. Jordan's actually back.
I'm back, baby.
Welcome back, buddy.
So this is like the actual true season premiere of season 2.
Yeah.
We did that soft premiere with Doug last week.
Well, and we did record an episode, but that didn't work out.
All of this new technology, it's so hard to get used to. Get used to using. So, but we're back. This week we're going to talk about Rick and Morty because 2 weeks ago they had an episode that really, I don't know if I liked immediately. I had to go back and watch it again. Now, we just watched it before we started recording. Rick Landis Mix-Up. It's basically, they call them phone booth episodes, or how do they... It's like an isolated episode that doesn't have anything to do with your main characters. I want to say phone booth. That might not be the right term, but I'm doing a lot of stuff with my hands.
Yeah. Too bad they can't see that. It's awesome.
Yeah. But anyways, probably the darkest episode of Rick and Morty that we've ever had, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of death.
Yeah. The body count was just so high. Jordan, what did you think?
I had a hard time keeping up, to be honest.
Oh, because of the multiple storylines.
Yeah,
that had going on.
There was a lot of it's one of those I need to go back and watch again because I feel like I missed a lot of quick jokes.
And all of the allegory that they used, you could see a little bit of allusions to this past presidential election, Morty.
Oh yeah.
Like CNN it was Citadel News. So it's just one letter away from CNN. And they make fun of him. Never took him seriously, and then he kind of gains in popularity and ends up winning.
Doing it in the complete opposite nature though, tastefully and gracefully.
Yeah, but in the end, still eliminating all of his rivals.
Exactly.
On the council. And then Simple Rick's.
That's got to be the best ever.
Just super disturbing. You try to break out of the mold of day-to-day, basically modern day slavery. Not slavery. What am I trying to say? The mundaneness of working like a factory line job, even though all of the Ricks are all the same.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, minus Tall Morty.
Tall Morty. They're just...
The Simple Ricks harkened back to, for me, Futurama. Every once in a while you'd see sort of an ad like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's basically based on pretty much all commercialized food product.
It was a Pepperidge Farm thing for sure.
Yeah,
yep.
Yeah, exactly. Look at this perfect family eating breakfast together where no one's screaming. Try grape nuts.
Are you saying your mornings with your 4 kids aren't nice and quiet?
No, I'm not. I'm not home for morning time, except for on the weekends. So yeah, if you have kids, it's crazy. So that's just one of the dark episodes Rick Landis Mix-Up. We could talk about the training day kind of storyline that they had with the really hardcore, disillusioned Morty driving the fresh-eyed Rick.
The sensitivity training Rick?
Yeah, sensitive Rick. And he ends up, killing his partner anyways. It's just so many dark turns.
Just Ricks killing Mortys.
And I, the Simple Ricks, the second Rick that became...
Well, didn't they kill him?
They killed him. Well, they shot him in the back of the head, and then they feed him the memory of escaping the system.
So it doesn't kill him.
So yeah,
that-
basically he's a vegetable,
Yeah.
Okay.
it's just, yeah.
and they're just playing that memory on a loop. Wow. And there's a bunch of psychologists that talk about like people being excited to escape like the system and stuff, and like going to national parks and learning a trade like woodworking. And a couple psychologists actually think it reinforces the system that they're trying to escape from, because you wouldn't need that. You wouldn't need to do that if you were
weren't in
actually
the
free.
system. Yeah.
And so, trying to escape the system actually enslaves you to the system even more. And they, kind of touch on that because Rick and Morty, for all of its wacky humor and like in jokes, it's one of the deepest shows on television now.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Like the Toxic Rick episode,
Yeah.
where it was just like that. I mean, that's like straight up. You could write a psychology paper off of that.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's another episode this season where they stripped the toxic parts of themselves, but the toxic parts of themselves had their own identities.
Yeah.
And so you went around with basically psychopath Morty.
Yes, because he felt like nothing.
Rick
that
with
he
a
was
conscience.
yeah. It was, yeah.
But
Hilarious.
it was weird because what's weird is Toxic Rick loved his Morty. You know what I mean? Like, he wanted to protect his toxic Morty.
Well, and it was funny because that means normal Rick would have thought of that as like a bad thing.
Right.
So,
So is the toxic part of him good? Yeah. They didn't really delve into that much, but
So did normal Rick like Morty after his toxic part was taken away?
no. Normal Rick tried to figure out how to.
put him back in.
Yeah,
he's
put
like,
him back
he's like,
in.
we need these parts back in us because it makes us whole. And then he ends up getting. I'll do that first. He ends up getting his back in, and then when he's about to ready to get Morty in there, Morty just takes off. He's like, "I'm okay, dude."
That fight between Toxic Rick and
Oh, yes.
normalized Rick,
Yes.
where he like kills himself, but he
They
had put
each
some.
kill each other like once and
Oh,
turn into something else.
He
Like
shot
bursting
full
out.
of this like gel, and so he gives birth to a baby Rick that quickly grows to full size Rick.
They both end up standing there completely naked.
These guys are just
Oh, it's
incredibly
hilarious.
insane. So we kind of got off track, but the other two darkest episodes I would say are Rick Potion number 9 from season 1,
Mm.
and then the I think it's the Ricks Must Be Crazy from season 2. So Rick Potion number 9, Morty wants Jessica, his crush, to like fall for him, and so he's like, Rick, can you just give me like a love potion? And Rick's like, yeah, sure, but if anyone's sick, don't use it on them because don't know what would happen. And obviously, that's exactly what happens. He used it on Jessica, and it goes airborne because someone at the school has the flu, and it completely ruins the universe that these guys are from, C-137. At least Rick is from C-137. We don't actually know if Morty is. Anyways, that's like the normal universe. And at the end of the episode, after Rick has tried to fix it, he's like, all right, Morty, I got one last idea. They use a portal gun to a universe that's pretty close to their own, where they have just died from like a science experiment that Rick was doing. And they bury themselves in the backyard, and they take over this other Rick and Morty's lives. And it's the weirdest, darkest ending as Morty, because that's who most people like identify themselves with, right? So imagine burying yourself and then having to live in a world where
There's at least one big difference, and maybe it was just them getting killed that was the difference, but there might be at least one other difference. So like something along there would change.
yeah.
You'd be like, all right, what's different? Like always looking around. Like,
And Rick's smart enough to know, like he mentions it to Morty. He's like, I brought us to a universe that's really close to our own. What about the the timeline where Hitler cured cancer? Yeah. The point is, don't think about it, which is a good lesson for the show. Don't think about it. You can dissect every episode.
It seems to be a motif for it.
Yeah, till you're blue in the face, but in the end, just don't think about it. It's just crazy idea that they had. Jordan, you remember Rig Potion number 9, right? Vaguely.
Vaguely, yeah. Not enough to talk about it, I guess.
And then, the other episode I want to talk about was The Ricks Must Be Crazy, where Rick, Summer, and Morty are in an alternate universe at the start of the episode where Ball Fondlers is a franchise that they can go and see. Ball Fondlers was advertised in Interdimensional Cable, one of those episodes where it was just a bunch of commercials. And they leave Summer in space in the ship because the microverse battery has broken down. And the way that Rick powers his spaceship is he built a micro universe inside of a battery where people have to step on, they call them Google boxes. Well, a scientist from that universe created his own miniverse, I think is the term he uses, or tinyverse. And so Rick's microverse battery isn't getting power anymore. So they end up like inceptioning down several universes. And I guess the darkest part is, one of the dark parts is one of the bottom universe people realizes it's just like a nesting doll thing where he's like, my dad died. This is the universe where my dad died, and I didn't go to his funeral because I was too busy with like stupid stuff. Like I didn't go to my dad's funeral, and all of it's meaningless. So he gets into this little transport ship, kills himself, and it strands Rick and the scientist that created the tiny verse inside his microverse. It's very convoluted.
I remember seeing it. I just don't recall the fine points of it.
Yeah. So that happens, but I would say actually the darkest part of the episode is Summer is trapped in the car, and Rick told the car to keep Summer safe, and it's kind of this like Knight Rider. The spaceship is protecting her from stuff. So this Mexican guy comes up and he's like knocking on the window, and the car scans him, but it scans him into like bloody chunks, like it was a laser.
Yep.
And then a guy runs up and he's like, "Hey, that was my kid's pediatrician. What are you doing?" And Summer's like, "Don't kill him." And so the ship's like, "Okay, I will not kill him." And he shoots a laser at the base of the guy's spine. And so it paralyzes him.
Oh my god.
And so cops show up, and Summer's like, "Ship, do not physically harm these people." And the ship's like, "Okay, I will not physically harm them." And it's like scanning. And it's scanning all the police officers that step out of the car. And it scans the main, like the front guy. And it's like, psychological damage detected. And so it hatches the guy's dead son who drowned.
Oh my god.
And he's like, "Daddy?" And he's like, "Oh my god, hold your fire." And he runs to this kid that the ship has created. And the kid's like, "Daddy, don't hurt the young girl." And then the dad's like, "What's going on?" And the kid melts into like jelly. And as funny as it is, holy shit.
Yeah, that's...
And it's halfway through the episode and you're like, oh my God, that's psychologically terrifying to have have that be what stops people from attacking your ship. But Rick is crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the Ricks Must Be Crazy episode.
Great writing.
Great writing. Justin Roiland, talking about Rick Lantis mix-up, he was the only character that episode. God, his throat must have been, I don't know how long it would have taken him to record that episode. But
so it's the same guy that does Rick and Morty?
Yep. Summer and Jerry, and I can never remember the wife's name. Beth.
Is it Beth?
Yeah.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
Mary.
that sounds right.
Beth, Jerry, and Summer are all voiced by different people. And then, like, Principal Vagina is voiced by someone else. And, like, the teacher, Morty's math teacher, that's in a lot of episodes.
Mm.
And then I think Mr. Poopy Butthole is voiced by Justin, but we haven't seen him. So yeah, Rick Landis mix up as standalone as it was because we see Rick and Morty at the start, and Rick's like, "No, we're going to Atlantis. We're going on an adventure. Come on, Morty."
So this says Beth Smith. So Beth is the mom.
Yep.
Is the ex-wife of Jerry Smith?
Yeah, they got a divorce this season.
Oh, I've only seen season 1.
Yeah, so they got a divorce because
What was the straw that broke the camel's back?
It was the Citadel, wasn't it? It
Yes.
played into it as well. But it was the insect creatures that were trying to get the portal gun technology.
yeah. So the entire universe got taken over by because he gets saved by SEAL Team Rick.
Yes. Well, saved as a relative
Federation.
term.
Not the Confederation, the Federation.
Oh, Federation.
Took over like the universe because Rick got arrested at the end of season 2,
Yeah.
or turned himself in at the end of season 2, and they're trying to get portal gun technology, and they install a system of government that's based on $1 of itself, and so Jerry starts getting promoted, and he becomes like a he becomes a super important person on Earth. For the Federation. But then Rick undoes all of that by setting the value of their currency to 0 instead of $1. And so the Federation breaks up and like they leave Earth. And Rick, who was in prison, comes back and he's like, thanks, I'm back and stuff. And Jerry's like, no, I'm putting my foot down. Beth, it's either me or your dad. And there's this long, awkward pause. And Jerry's like, I didn't think you would be taking this long to decide this. So Rick goes and he has a beer and he goes into the garage. And Beth is like, we're going to spend some time apart.
What's
that-
funny is... Oh, sorry.
No, is that in the Szechuan sauce episode?
Yes, that is... Yep.
Okay, because you've shown me that one.
Yeah.
What's funny is like a minute before Rick shows up after he destroyed the Federation, Beth is basically like, oh, I'm never going to trust Rick again. It's me and you, Jerry, and we're going to make this work. And he shows up and she's like, Dad, oh my God, don't ever leave again.
Yeah. Beth has dad issues. I think that one of the upcoming episodes, I think it's just about Rick and Beth. So we'll see more of that relationship.
Cool.
So yeah, Rick and Morty. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. It's probably my favorite show on right now. There's nothing really else on that kind of compares to it.
Oh, yeah, not this type of genre where it's like
Hard sci-fi.
wacky. Well, like it's got a whole shebang of stuff.
Yeah.
It's like
Rick and Morty, season 3.
Rick and Morty, another 96 years. Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty. I'm gonna get my hands on that Szechuan sauce.
It's all about the Szechuan sauce.
That's pretty much it for this episode. If you have anything else to add, no. Sweet.
So, yeah.
Well, what do you guys think about Rick and Morty? Let us know over on Facebook. Facebook.com/We Sound Like Nerds. On Twitter, using the hashtag We Sound Like Nerds or the hashtag We Sound Like Nerds Podcast. We are at WSLN Podcast. Coming to you live from Western Wisconsin. WSLN. That's my radio voice. WSLN.
Isn't it, if it's west of the Mississippi, it starts with K?
I don't know.
Is that true?
So I guess Wisconsin would be east of the Mississippi.
What's it start with then?
So then it'd be right if Wisconsin would start with a W because it's east of the...
That's stupid. W should be west of the Mississippi, right? West?
You would think.
But most of the stations down here are K, and we're
Yeah.
definitely west of the Mississippi. Unless we've been looking at the world wrong, and actually the South Pole is the North Pole. North Pole is the South Pole.
Well, it's
Well, there are people that think the world is flat, so
it's all relative.
maybe it's all the same.
All right.
Maybe we're living in an infinite universe.
We are.
We're in C
137.
138. Maybe we're in C 138.
It's pretty
How do
close.
we know?
I feel like we would be experiencing temporal disturbances though if we were that close to C-137 with all the crap that he gets up to.
Crop circles.
Anytime you see something unknown, it's like, oh, there's Rick.
Yep.
God damn it, Rick.
Again. See you guys next week.
You know, it'll get you energized. A Garth Brooks concert.
Ugh. No, thank you.
That was the best night of my life last night.
You've had sex, right?
Yeah.
Okay.